what's been happening at Maitland Local Court this week. I was away this week, so I'm going to rely on the trusted sources that are the police and the media to inform me about the cases listed here. By the way, there are about 150 cases listed this week, and I can find public information about 2 of them. Both unrelated cases and appeared here at Maitland Local Court as fresh custodies on Tuesday this week. The first is a police pursuit. Yep, another one. Of course, the first case for 2025 at Maitland was the New Year's Eve police pursuit guy. Interesting, his case also got a mention on Tuesday this week, but there's no details out here about where the case is at. Plus, there was another police pursuit this week. However, the alleged driver was only 13 years old, so they aren't on the court list here. Rather, they go to the kids' court. Anyways, the media's story about this week's police pursuit guy was short. My usual questions about police pursuits are, first, what type of cars are people doing police pursuits in? It's reported the car was a Mitsubishi Lancer. Second, do people do police pursuits in their own car or stolen cars? The story doesn't say if the car was stolen, so does that mean we can assume he owns the car or had the owner's permission to drive the car in the police pursuit? Third, how did it end? Did the cops roll out the road spikes? Yes, the police pursuit started on the Central Coast and ended at Beresfield with road spikes. The story says he's behind bars, so it's assumed court refused bail. The story also says he pled guilty to the police pursuit, so I think we can expect a sentencing in the near future. Now, I reckon Maitland's not all about police pursuits. I know it doesn't look like that when you read the newspaper stories. But at Maitland, like many of the local courts in New South Wales, about 40 to 50% of the cases relate to domestic or personal violence. And this week, thanks to the police issuing a media release, we got our first story for 2025 that relates to domestic violence. We also saw the media publish an online newspaper story about the police arrest. This case was the other fresh custody from Tuesday. Police alleged a 33-year-old man forced entry to a home at Rutherford and allegedly assaulted and threatened a woman known to the man. So when you hear a person is allegedly assaulted in a home by another person known to them, it's highly likely that it is domestic violence. Police claim a member of the public heard the incident and attempted to assist the woman and was also allegedly assaulted by the man. In situations where a person is assaulted by a stranger, it's usually referred to as personal violence. So this case has both types. Yes, it's all violence, however, labels give relevant context. Many people experience violence in their home and from someone they know. So I think having that context assists in telling the legal story. Police charged the man with contravene an AVO, stalk and intimidate, destroy property, aggravated break and enter, common assault, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. When you hear contravene an AVO, this means that there is already a court order in place to protect that person, meaning this guy and their behaviour towards that person has already been before the local court. And there's more. The police media release also mentions a parole warrant, meaning it's likely the man was on parole at the time. Remember, parole is usually subject to conditions such as must not reoffend. So it's very likely this was a show cause fresh custody, meaning the guy would have had the burden of arguing why he shouldn't return to jail. Usually the police prosecutor has the burden to argue why they should be in jail during legal proceedings. But if a person has been released from jail to serve the rest of their sentence in the community and allegedly reoffends, they have to persuade the court to grant bail. However, neither the police media release or the media story says what happened here at Maitland Local Court. Did court grant bail? Did he enter pleas? It's usual for the police to report about the arrest and the media to continue the story when they report about what happened at court. So why didn't we get the media story with the court part? For context, there's only a few journalists in the Hunter Valley, and there's many court cases being dealt with across many local courts. Yes, the police issued a media release that highlighted that there was a DV case happening at Maitland on Tuesday, but the police media release was issued late on Tuesday afternoon after court dealt with the case. So it's possible the only people that heard about how the court dealt with this fresh custody were those sitting in the gallery on that day, because the rest of us found out too late. That's just how things are. But we are hearing about some cases here at Maitland Local Court. Yes, there's the police pursuits, and sometimes we hear about possible new cases that might get listed in the near future. Yes, a do-it-yourself flamethrower. Anyways, I would argue that 40 to 50% of the stories about cases coming out of Maitland Local Court should be about domestic or personal violence, because they make up 40 to 50% of the cases here. But finding out what happened at Maitland Local Court every week has its challenges.